Hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. This weekend on Saturday Night Live, Tom Hanks made a fool of himself and of the Hollywood elite yet again. I want to play the video for you right off the bat. And then I'm going to give you a lesson in real racism, fake racism, and perceived racism, and why the left continues to dig a hole post the November election. It's really astonishing to me. Without any further ado, Gabe, let's roll the video of Tom Hanks on SNL. All right, so that's Tom Hanks on SNL. Guys, I got to tell you, Tom Hanks is a great actor, a fabulous actor. Frankly, in my opinion, he's one of the best actors of our time, and I enjoy watching his films. Many of you, one of his latest films, actually, I saw one. I forget the name of it, but it was well acted. But he was a neighbor having heart attacks and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of a weird movie, but it was a good movie. He always plays. What was it called? Otto. That's right. That's right. So it was a really good movie. And then beyond that, he played Mr. Rogers in the film where I think, I don't know if he did or not, but the guy should have won an Academy Award. I mean, the movie was absolutely fabulous. But this is an indication of where the left absolutely is. So I want to give you guys a lesson in real racism, fake racism, and perceived racism. And what you're witnessing, I believe, in that SNL skit is perceived racism. So let's lay it out, all right? Because we've got to alarm or we've got to teach all of those woke social justice warriors out there, these DEI people. It's absolutely insane. So blacks have it so good today in America that it's we have to find reasons to be upset. And I'm not saying there isn't some racism out there. Of course there is. But a lot of the racism that you'll see today, sadly, is racism by blacks against others, and apparently blacks can be called out for it because we have no institutional power, which is absolutely insane given that there's so many of us in the arts, so many of us in academia, in government, so on, etc. So it's just an asinine argument that it's played the course. All right, it played its course, I should say. It's absolutely insane. So let me give you an example of, again, real racism, fake racism, perceived racism. So real racism would be, and if we're looking at America, obviously slavery. Okay, obvious racism, right? Obviously, the civil rights era and Jim Crow South. Now, all of these were perpetuated by Democrats for the most part, right? Vastly, overwhelmingly, the fight against civil rights. And it was Republicans that, along with LBJ, supported the Civil Rights Act. It was Republicans that supported the first Civil Rights Act of 1866, the party that was created, in fact, to get rid of slavery and to get rid of polygamy. But you don't hear that in your history lessons anymore. So you've got real racism, fake racism. Those would be examples of real racism. Blacks having to sit at the back of the bus, right? In the Jim Crow South, which was Democrats that were in charge, by the way. It would be blacks that are being have to drink at separate water fountains. Obviously, those are examples of real racism. You had Dwight Eisenhower that had to lead these little girls into a public school, with the help of the National Guard. Those would be examples of real racism. Those aren't things that we experience today in the United States of America. Other countries do experience them. As a matter of fact, you can go to places like Mexico, where if you're a darker skinned Mexican and not a lighter skinned Mexican, you're going to experience some racism. You don't hear about that type of stuff, but you could go to other countries and you're going to experience racism. And obviously, you can here too. It's just not an issue. White racists can't stop you. Black racists actually have gained some power when it comes to DEI. That's why the left is freaking out over Doge exposing all of these programs and this funding that was going to all of these LGBTQ and DEI initiatives, not just here in the United States, but around the globe, whether it's USAID or whatever agency it may be. But that's real racism. And then you have perceived racism. And again, this is what we witnessed with Tom Hanks. Just because somebody supports Trump. Now, keep in mind, Trump was cool. Trump was down with blacks, right? He was down with the struggle before he became a Republican. But the moment he decided to run as a Republican, then Trump all of a sudden became a racist. This is a guy that would hang out with the likes of Jesse Jackson. I don't know why, Al Sharpton, and they were praising, singing Trump's tunes. They all loved him when Trump was a Democrat. But Trump saw something that was wrong with the country. This is a guy that was a common sense conservative, Donald Trump is. And so once he decided to run, and he decided to run as a Republican, they knew that he knew their dirt, in my opinion, and they knew that he could shake up things in Washington. So they decided, like they always do, to try to brand him a racist. But it did not work this time because Americans were so desperate for something different. We had already undergone the Tea Party. We had already undergone Barack Obama in the White House and the first black president, quote unquote, and he was an absolute disaster. So Americans were ready for a change. And indeed, they brought that change with Trump. And so what the left did is they framed Trump as a racist. And then everything he said, remember the Charlottesville lie, where he literally called out white supremacists, and the left completely lied about it and said he praised both sides of the aisle, so to speak, both sides of both groups in Charlottesville, North Carolina. Which, by the way, some groups were for and some were against taking down monuments of Civil War monuments. And then Trump said there were good people on both sides of the issue. And they tried to say, oh, he's talking about these racists. He's talking about these Nazis, skinheads, whatever they were that attended the rally. And nothing could be further from the truth because Trump outright condemned them. As a matter of fact, he said, and I'm not talking about the racist, the so on, et cetera. He outright condemned them. But that wasn't enough for the left because the left has been able to survive on this narrative that Republicans are racist. And it's all they have to go to. Remember, Republicans or Democrats always tell you who you should hate instead of how you can help. So the goal is for you to hate Donald Trump. Now, with Doge, the goal is for you to hate Elon Musk. Oh, this unelected bureaucrat, going through all of your personal information. Guys, Elon Musk is the head of SpaceX and Starlink. This guy is privy to so much secret information. It's unbelievable. And we've trusted him. I mean, he's become the richest man in the world. So it's not like he has to worry about your $60,000 salary that this guy that's worth what? A quarter of $1 trillion or more is worth. Yeah, I mean, come on, people, get real. All right. So all of this is perceived racism. Perceived racism is what Democrats, in my opinion, they put out in the ether. They create this idea or this concept that people are racist, just like Trump supporters are racist, and they're continuing to do this, and they're trying to have their way. And it's not working. And then there's outright fake racism. Fake racism is what we saw with Jussie Smollett or Juicy Smollett. You guys might remember that Juicy Smollett, he used to act on this particular show. I forget the name of the show, but it was popular at the time. I think the ratings started to cave or tank a little bit. But apparently the ratings were still good enough where he felt like he should have been paid more. And he wasn't getting paid more. He wanted to draw attention to himself. And so what he decided to do was he decided to stage a fake attack by Trump supporters. Now, these Trump supporters happen to be black. They went and bought all of this material. They attacked him at 2 a.m. in the morning in Chicago, all right, in a snowstorm. and that's straight up fake racism, right? Because he wanted people to believe, obviously he wanted to get money, and he wanted people to believe that America was racist. And these white guys that happen to be Trump supporters with MAGA hats, turns out they were two Africans, I mean, legitimate African Americans. They were able to spot him in the middle of the night in a snowstorm, 2 a.m. And what are the chances they're out at the same time? And they say there's that, not racial slur, but homosexual slur. There's this guy from that show. Let's get him. All right. And hey, N-word, and then they attack him. Another instance of fake racism would be Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace of NASCAR. I honestly, I can't stand when blacks get in a position where they can uplift the rest of the community and they choose to become victims. And I think part of it is an excuse for mediocrity, right? because of their race. There's always someone else to blame. But here he is. This guy pretended like a noose was inside of his bay where his car was, and that was a racial attack. When in fact, all of the racers had this type of noose to close the bay door. It's absolutely insane. Last example. Perceived racism, microaggressions. Racism is so not an issue in America anymore. We have to make stuff up. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for My Pillow, and My Pillow is excited to announce that they're having the first ever mega sale on their overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, you can save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. The queen size is only $59.98 and the kings are only $69.98. But they sell out fast every year, so be sure to order now. You can also save 30% on their brand new Mike crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one that Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's styles, and they're made right here in the good U.S. of A. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them before they or while they last. And I can't forget to mention the My Pillow. It's just $14.98. So to take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com, use promo code Carl, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. 800-858-0263 is the number to call in. But wait, remember that $75, the $75 free shipping rule. So, that ship is sailed because right now for a limited time, every order ships free. That's right. Every order ships free. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl, or give them a call at 800-858-0263.